It is possible to enter Emerald Coast with every character, even the ones who aren't normally able to enter the stage. Sonic, Big, and Gamma can easily just walk into the stage as the developers intended, but the others have more complex game-breaking methods. For Tails, you have to go to this point in the hotel and fly out of bounds like this. If you fly to the left area here, you can land on some ground before you fly past the barrier that blocks these characters from entering the stage. You can play through the whole first act of the stage, but sadly the level is unbeatable once you reach the second act. This is because the game spawns you below the stage where it is impossible to progress. Knuckles has a harder method to access the stage. You first have to grab the Burger Man statue from in front of the burger shop and place him near the barrier, like this. If placed correctly, you should be able to use the statue to clip out of bounds and enter the stage. Similar to Tails' version, you can play through the entire first act of the stage with no issues, but the second act is unbeatable. You can also enter this stage as Amy. She can get out of bounds with the Burger Man statue, but I found it a bit easier to just use a hammer jump like this to clip out of bounds. She has the same issue with not being able to finish Act 2, but it is extremely hard for her to even reach that point, as she is too slow to outspeed the killer whale that chases you in the middle of this stage. Dr. Eggman and Tikal both have character models that are programmed the same way that the main playable characters are. They both have the ability to walk and jump, but lack a lot of other basic actions. Using mods on the PC version, you can actually play as both characters. You can't really do much as them as they aren't able to interact with many objects in the game, but they can still run and jump, which is enough to complete some stages. In Station Square, there is a somewhat hidden subplot going on during the main story. It involves a lady and the employee at the burger shop. It starts off with her admiring the burger shop employee from a distance and wishing to meet him. If you talk to him, he mentions that he needs to hire someone for his shop, specifically a cute girl with a nice smile. As you progress in the story, you'll see that she convinces herself to go inside the store but is too nervous to order, which weirds out the employee a bit, and he eventually mentions that he feels like he's being watched after she leaves the store. If you chat to her outside the store, she mentions how she set a new record with how close she got to him and that she is totally in love with the burger shop employee. After some more story progression and some more struggling to order, she convinces herself to be brave and talk to the employee. If you return after finishing the story, you can now see that she is an employee at the store and the original employee is happy he hired someone who will increase sales with their nice smile, seemingly unaware that she has been watching him and is deeply in love. The Sky Chase subgame was initially supposed to have a flying dragon that would fight you as you approach the egg carrier. This never made it into the final release, but there are mods that add this dragon back into the game with unused code that was left in the game's files by the developers. In the original Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure, your Chao can have multiple different emotes above their head based on how you treat them. The most common emotes are the love emote, the tired emote, and the excited emote. Within the game's files, there are actually 4 other Chao emotes that are unused in the final game. It's a bit unclear what they were all supposed to be and when your Chao would have displayed them. Your guess is as good as mine. Casinopolis originally had a Cowgirl neon sign that made a suggestive sound when you approached her. The Cowgirl sign is only visible in the original Japanese release on the Dreamcast and is removed in all future international releases. In those future releases, the Cowgirl sign was replaced by a generic Casinopolis sign that does not make any sounds. The Cowgirl was removed for pretty obvious reasons. After completing the main story, you can explore more of the egg carrier with Sonic. You're even able to access Eggman's private quarters where his bedroom and gaming room are located. His gaming room has a little Eggmobile ride similar to those rides for kids that you see at shopping malls. It also has lots of slot machines too, confirming that Eggman is a gambler. Knuckles is normally not able to access Twinkle Park as part of his story, but with this glitch you can get into the stage. In the room before you enter Twinkle Park, you have to climb up on the wall of the doorway and glitch out of bounds using the doors to push you. If done correctly, you should land on an invisible platform above the door. From there, you can then fly over the blocked entryway and enter the loading zone for Twinkle Park. You immediately spawn in the void, so make sure to fly backwards towards the camera and find your way to the track. Be careful though, there are a lot of death planes in the area and certain parts of the track can really glitch out your camera, making it really hard to control as the game thinks the camera should be back at the starting card section, not where you actually are. Once you reach the end of the track, you can get access to the main part of the stage by climbing your way down the tunnel at the end of the cart section. Make sure to climb and not just drop through, otherwise you could miss the loading zone and die. If done correctly, you should now have full access to Twinkle Park as Knuckles. Exploring the stage as Knuckles is pretty bugged though. There are certain features of the level, like the bowling sections, that can get you stuck forever, and my game even crashed as I approached the goal capsule. I am like 99% sure you can finish the stage by going on the capsule, but for some reason my game crashed as I approached it, which is pretty weird as that is the only time my game crashed the entire time I was recording footage for this video. Other users have reported that after dying in Twinkle Park with Knuckles, the game would stop playing music and a red mist would follow Knuckles around throughout the stage. You could easily make some kind of creepypasta with this. In Twinkle Park, you're able to find some very special non-magnetic rings. If you get an electric shield and bring it to the mirror area, you can see that the rings do not automatically go towards your character like they should. This is because the rings in this area are different than normal rings in order to make sure they work with the reflecting mirrors. This is only noticeable in the Japanese release, as the developers removed the only electric shield in the stage for the international releases to fix this issue. If you jump into this section of the roof here at the town hall, you can clip out of bounds. By doing this and using the light speed dash, you can reach the loading zone for Knuckles' speed highway, even though you're playing as Sonic. This allows you to access this stage much earlier in Sonic's story than you're supposed to, as it spawns Sonic normally in his version of the stage, not the Knuckles version of Speed Highway. You can do this as soon as you get access to the City Hall area, which happens pretty early on in Sonic's story. Sonic Adventure was the first Sonic game to have voice acting for the main characters, and it shows, as there are lots of questionable lines and the voice acting is not exactly perfect.
I'm out of control! Mayday! Mayday!
The English versions of the game also have very poorly synced mouth movements, as they are programmed to be synced up to the Japanese dialogue and not the English dialogue.
Hey, this ship is losing altitude!
Hurry, Tails! Take Amy and get out of here!
ねえソニックこの船どんどん高度が落ちてるよ
時間がない。テイルスはエミを連れて先に逃げるんだ。
ソニック
俺はエッグマンを追う。あいつを放っておくわけにはいかないからな。
Gamma's Hot Shelter boss fight against E105 Zeta has an Easter egg hidden within the boss itself. If you look closely, you can see that the boss is actually made up of many different Sega Dreamcasts. At the start of Amy's Hot Shelter stage, you can find a bunch of sculptures on wooden pedestals. One of these pedestals has a Badnik on it. If you take them out, you can jump on the pedestal yourself and see a weird animation from Amy. From what I can tell, this losing balance animation only happens on this one pedestal and nowhere else in the rest of the game. The Hot Shelter stage for Big the Cat features a secret extra section to explore. You first have to go away from Froggy over here, where you can then cast your line onto a drain plug. Once you pull that up, water will drain and give you access to a new area with bigger fish. Froggy isn't actually here, so there isn't really any reason to explore this area, as there isn't even a lure upgrade for Big here either. I'm guessing they originally wanted to add Froggy here to this area, but likely moved him to the regular spot to make the level easier, which honestly was a solid choice as people struggle enough already with Big stages. There is a checkpoint on the way up here which supports this theory that Froggy was likely here originally, and they even added a whole new mechanic just for this area. One fishing area is blocked by glass but can be accessed if you get a monkey to throw one of their bombs on it. This is the only area in the game to use the monkey's bombs like this, which is a bit odd for such a small random area. During Sonic's story, you have to go into this sewer in Station Square where you find Sonic's first upgrade. You're supposed to use the upgrade to get yourself out of the sewer, but it is actually possible to get out of the sewer without using the upgrade. With the well-placed spin dash jump, you can get enough height to simply jump out of the sewer. Also, quick random thought, why the hell does this shop just have an open sewer pit in their back office? That is such a big hazard, anyone can just walk back here and fall into the sewers. Not everyone is Sonic and going to be able to get out of here. Another trick you can do as Sonic is get the crystal ring upgrade without using the lightspeed dash. If you go near these buttons in the hotel and very quickly do a spin dash jump, you can get into the room before the doors close and you can get the power up. This one is particularly interesting because you can get the power up that lowers the lightspeed dash wind up time before you even have the lightspeed dash, making it entirely useless. It does look cool on Sonic at least. In Casinopolis as Sonic, there's a well-hidden Easter egg. The stage normally requires you to deposit 400 rings into the bank area here to beat the stage, but if you deposit considerably more than that, a giant golden Sonic statue will be built in the center of the stage here. The statue ultimately does nothing and takes a lot of rings to build, so I probably wouldn't attempt this unless you're using cheats, especially since Knuckles can easily destroy the statue in his stage. Casinopolis has a shower room that you can explore and for some reason take a shower in. I have no idea why a casino would have showers like this, but you can actually go under them and clean off Sonic. He even has a special shower animation for this. In Tails' Casinopolis stage, there's a hidden area that can be accessed near the start of the stage. You can't just fly into it as it has an invisible wall blocking the way in. If you go to the opposite side on the left and fly up to the vents, you can clip yourself out of bounds and get into the tunnel. Once you're up on the vents, move back towards the very start of the stage and position yourself like I have here. With a well-placed jump, you can fly through the ceiling and go out of bounds. The tunnel is actually pretty long and does have some goodies in it. It seems very likely it was a last-minute removal as it has rings and item boxes unlike a lot of these other hidden areas. Sonic can also access this area in his stage with some well-placed spin dash jumps. His version is particularly strange since it has no rings or item boxes in the middle of the tunnel, but has a life and speed up placed all the way at the dead end at the top, almost as if the developers intended for gamers to find this out of bounds area. Towards the end of Sonic's final egg stage, there's a section that has a fun Easter egg. You first have to get to this point in the stage and spin dash up the wall like this. If you manage to get up here, you can see a group of rings in the shape of Sonic's head. There's actually a mission in mission mode that requires you to come up here to grab a flag too. That's not the only interesting secret in Final Egg though. At the very last section in the stage, there's a platform you can see floating pretty high up in the air. At first it doesn't really appear to be moving at all, but if you watch it long enough, you'll notice it is moving very slowly downwards towards us. If you wait long enough for it to lower, you can climb and find a secret area with 4 extra lives. This is a really weird secret area as you can't even access it until you've been in the stage for much longer than the average player would be here, as it takes minutes for it to lower enough for you to jump on it. Guessing they added this as a way for struggling players to get more lives before the Egg Viper fight, but realistically most struggling players will never find this. In the first act of the Sky Chase subgame, it is possible to complete the stage without moving or shooting at all. By moving the tornado into the top corner of the screen, you'll be able to dodge attacks and complete the stage without moving at all. You might still get hit once or twice, but it's enough for you to clear the stage with no problem. You can do this for most of the second act too, except for the final part where you have to shoot towards the egg carrier. This doesn't help you get any points that you need to get the emblem for the subgame, but it is a good opportunity to take a quick break if you're in the middle of a Sonic or Tails story playthrough. In Sonic's Lost World stage, it is possible to get past the snake section without hitting a single one of the switches for the door. However, it is much harder than doing this section normally. At the very start of the area, you have to go on the opening of the snake head door here on the left side and do a very high angled spin dash jump. It's a bit tricky to get yourself placed correctly on the snake head, but if done correctly, you should be able to clip through the wall up above and be at the very highest platform in the section. From there, you can easily raise the water to the highest level and jump your way over to the exit for the area. To get through the door here, you have to run up to it, start a spin dash, pause your game, and then unpause, and you can clip right through the door and into the next section without hitting a single switch to open the door. This is a bit trickier to do than just playing the level normally, but it is considerably faster once you are good at it. It also means you don't really have to go on the snake at all, which is nice, as it always makes me really nervous. In Knuckles' Lost World stage, you can glitch out of bounds by punching this fire trap here. If done correctly, you can fly towards Sonic's portion of the stage and access areas that you normally can't as Knuckles. Crazily enough, this area still functions really well even as Knuckles. Things like checkpoints and rings are still loaded in, and you can even ride down the water slide like Sonic does. You can even go all the way back here to the start of the area and explore near the mirror moving section. It is honestly kind of crazy that all of this stuff is loaded in and active. We aren't even close to the small area that Knuckles' level takes place in, so I don't really understand why they left all of this in for his level. If you fly far enough out of bounds, you can find the end of stage capsule for Sonic's version of the stage and end Knuckles' stage without finding any emerald pieces. Knuckles even still says found him, even though I in fact did not find a single emerald. Mission mode was added for Sonic Adventure DX, and it adds 60 different missions for you to complete. It seems like this mode was a bit rushed, as some of the mission descriptions have translation errors in them. Mission 30 has a grammar error as it states, "A fugitive have escaped from the jail of burning hell," instead of "A fugitive has escaped from the jail of burning hell." It's also notable because it has the word hell in it, which was kinda nuts at the time, since Sonic games typically didn't have language like that. Nowadays we have got
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
and,
Who the hell do you think you are?
so it's not as memorable, but at the time it was pretty crazy. Item boxes are able to give you rings, lives, invincibility, and speed ups, but there is also an unused item that remains in the game's files. It looks like it would have been some kind of a timer. It's very likely this was originally going to be added to Gamma's stages as an extra way to increase his timer besides shooting the enemies. The timer is already a non-issue in most Gamma stages, so this power-up was likely removed to prevent Gamma's timer from being a complete non-factor. In the files of the PC version, there is a level list that contains names for every level in the game, including 3 levels that never made it into the final game. These levels are called Mushroom, Jungle, and Desert. It's likely this list is from early in the game's development and was accidentally left in the game's files by mistake. Sonic Adventure DX is one of the only Sonic games to ever recognize the existence of the Sonic X TV show. One of the missions in Mission Mode features a poster that shows Sonic along with Chris, who is one of the main characters of the show. In Knuckles' Red Mountain stage, it is possible to ascend into the heavens by glitching Knuckles with this spinning fan blade. These fan blades have a wind hitbox to them that can get a little messed up by flying into it directly, which can cause lots of weird things to happen. You can also get stuck and have Knuckles fly around in circles repeatedly. When this happens, you actually get stuck and can no longer control Knuckles no matter what you push on your controller. Only quitting the level will free you. Same with when Knuckles ascended to the heavens. As Tails, you can explore the underside of the egg carrier by clipping out of bounds. You can get out of bounds by going into this area here by the boat and flying like this. It's actually kind of crazy how much of this area you can walk on. Most of it has collision and is fine to stand on, which makes it a lot easier to explore. It is possible to get Sonic's Lightspeed shoes much earlier than you are supposed to. This requires multiple out-of-bounds clips. The first one is here, where you must go far along the left side of this police barrier and spin dash repeatedly until you clip through the invisible wall. From here, you can now access the City Hall area before you were supposed to. We still have an issue though, as this car is here blocking the sewer. If you use both the nearby rock and the Burgerman statue, you can clip into the sewer. You want to place the rock right on the edge of the sewer and the Burgerman statue right next to it. If done correctly, you should be able to glitch out Sonic's collision by running into both of them and clip him underneath the car and into the sewer. From here you can now pick up the Lightspeed shoes, even though we are pretty much at the start of Sonic's story. Amy, for some reason, is programmed to run considerably faster if she is running up an incline. You can notice this most if you go to the stairs near Tails' workshop. She can clear these stairs as fast as Sonic can, despite being considerably slower on normal ground. Normally, to access Sonic's Casinopolis stage, you need the Lightspeed shoes to hit the button up here. If you for some reason don't want to use the Lightspeed dash, you can instead do a spin dash jump here to get enough height to hit the button without the Lightspeed shoes. Not only can you enter Casinopolis with an unintended method, but you can also beat the stage in an unintended way too. It's possible to beat Casinopolis in seconds without even playing pinball or entering the sewers. By doing a spin dash jump here against this wall, you can clip out of bounds and land on the hidden coins beneath the end of the stage. From here, you need to do a tricky spin dash jump to clip through the wall up top and get to the end of the stage. This trick is not exactly easy to do, making it not very useful for the average person playing this game, but it is considerably faster than playing the stage normally, so it does have some use for speedrunners. Lots of people know that you can homing attack the Egg Hornet repeatedly to beat the boss super fast. This is a fun developer oversight, but did you know that there is nothing stopping you from just continuing to attack Eggman here? If you have some button mashing stamina, you can lock Eggman in place and hit him hundreds of times as payback for all the crap he has done over the years.
Better get going.
Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast was the first Sonic game ever to feature DLC. The Dreamcast's modem could be used to connect to Sega's servers and access the DLC. This included a Christmas event that adds Christmas trees to Station Square that display Christmas-related messages when you jump on them. When the message pops up, the music in Station Square also changes to some festive songs from Nights. There was also a Reebok DLC where you have to find 5 pairs of Reebok shoes that Eggman stole and hid throughout Emerald Coast. This one was originally tied to a contest where the fastest time uploaded to the servers won a prize. This one is a bit jarring to me. It's really strange seeing all these Reebok advertisements all over Emerald Coast. At the same time though, this is really interesting. Up until I discovered this, I had no idea that Soap Shoes was not the first shoe partnership that Sonic the Hedgehog had. I'm guessing this DLC was a big factor in Soap Shoes becoming a part of Sonic Adventure 2, since this DLC likely released while Sonic Adventure 2's development was underway. The Samba GP is a downloadable Twinkle circuit track that was released in celebration of the release of Samba de Amigo. Oddly though, the DLC has pretty much nothing to do with Samba de Amigo, except the name, as there are no pictures at all from that game, and the music for the racetrack is actually Supersonic Racing. Yeah, that's right, Supersonic Racing is officially in Sonic Adventure. Crazy. This new track is a little bit harder than the regular Twinkle circuit, as there are multiple sharp turns during the race. Realistically though, it isn't too much different from the regular track, however it is really cool racing to Supersonic Racing from Sonic R. The last DLC I want to show you here is the Halloween DLC. It adds a bunch of these pumpkin ghost dudes throughout Twinkle Park who all say trick or treat when you approach them. It also adds some trick or treat graphics throughout the stage and in the Station Square area too. The developers of Sonic Adventure went to South America to get inspiration for the final game. The Lost World area in the Mystic Ruins was heavily inspired by the real-life Tikal temple that was visited by the developers. There's even a picture of them at the temple that can be found online. There are multiple points in the Sonic Adventure DX port where you can see the older models of the characters used instead of the new Sonic Adventure DX versions. When Amy is being grabbed by Zero, you can see that it is the Dreamcast model instead of the new one. And during the opening cutscene Amy story, you can also see a really old Metal Sonic model compared to the one that's actually playable in the game. In the second act of Windy Valley, there is a Badnik trapped under the stage repeatedly falling to their death. You can find him near the start of the second act, but it's pretty hard to see him without using some sort of free movement or debug mode cheat. Another secret that is only accessible through debug mode is a hidden ring in Station Square. If you look out of bounds behind the town hall, you can find a single ring chilling by itself in the void. If you do a spin dash like this with Sonic, you can get on top of the train station in Station Square. From there you can actually get into the underground car area that is not normally accessible. By hanging out down here for a bit, you can actually see some pretty interesting stuff. The cars going underground will eventually pull Sonic out of bounds before changing into a different car type, turning around and heading back out to drive around the city. This is a good look at how the car mechanics work. It's not really infinite cars spawning in, it's just the same dozen or so cars, but they keep changing what they look like each time they go underground and reset their cycle. Pretty cool. Another cool Station Square secret is that the clock in the town hall area actually functions like a real clock. Every other clock in the game is a fake, non-moving clock, but this one will actually change over time. It will always start at 10 o'clock every time you enter the area, but if you stay here long enough, it'll move just like a regular clock. The casino area in Station Square also has a fun but pretty random secret. Normally when you go into this area, you'll see a Chao in space billboard on the wall up here. A bunch of characters encounter this in their story. Knuckles even has to climb on it to access Casinopolis. However, when you enter this area during the Eggwalker fight in Tails' story, you can now see that the poster is replaced by a new poster for The Man 3. This was removed in the DX version of the game, but is visible in the Dreamcast version each time you fight the Eggwalker. This is very likely an early map design of this area that was made before they had the Chao in space poster design, which is likely why this poster is only visible in this one fight and not the rest of the game. Each character has a different top speed when running on the ground, but did you know that they also have a different ladder climbing speed? For some reason, Big the Cat is the fastest climber despite being by far the largest and slowest character. This could be because he is a cat, or maybe because he has to climb the Mystic Ruins ladder so often, but either way, it does look a bit strange. Sonic's Windy Valley stage normally is somewhat separated from Gamma's version of the stage, but you can actually clip through this wall here and explore some of Gamma's section of the level. There aren't enemies, rings, or anything here really, but it is cool to explore an area that is normally out of bounds. The characters all have idle voice lines if you stand around in certain areas for a little while.
Trains are cool too.
They say unique lines for each stage and area, as many of you probably know, but there are actually some hidden voice lines for the boss fights too. It's extremely hard to trigger these voice lines as the bosses usually attack you before the lines will play, and in some fights it's not even possible to sit in place long enough. Luckily with mods, we can easily listen to them.
He can't be invincible, can he?
You're gonna pay for what you've done.
E-103 detected. When did you ever learn? Beta.
You've had your fun, now it's my turn. This. That's it. I've had enough. Where can his weak spot be?
I know I can do it by myself.
I'll show you what the Chaos Emeralds can really do.
And that was all of the useless facts that I know about Sonic Adventure. Comment below what game you'd like to see me cover next. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my useless facts video for Sonic Adventure 2, or maybe even my Chao Garden facts video if you are also a big fan of Chao. It took me quite a while to make this video, so I greatly appreciate everyone who clicked the like button. Thank you to all of the channel supporters. Without you, I would not be able to stream and create content regularly. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.